You're listening to Her Confidence Her Way Podcast, episode 105. Hello, girlfriends. How are you doing? Thank you so much for listening to Her Confidence Her Way Podcast. I am your host, Emiko Rasmussen. 皆さん、こんにちは。Her Confidence Her Way Podcast ホストのエミコです。今日もこのエピソードを聞いてくれてどうもありがとうございます。Okay, today's episode is gonna be all in English. I have invited two of my wonderful co-workers who I work with, and we had a mommy chat. We have talked about our working mom journey, the experience, the stories, and everything. And I thought that it's going to be very interesting to share with you guys because obviously there is no one way or right way to do this thing called parenting. However, depending on the culture or depending on the countries, the way how people raise kids are different, and the way how the partnership works is different. So today I have Jenna. She has a 4-year-old daughter and she is a single mom. So she's raising her own daughter all by herself. And of course she's working full-time. And also I have Megan, who is a mom of 2. She has 8 and shoot, I think she's a 3. You'll hear it in the episode. Okay, so, and yeah, she is raising 2 kids, and she is married, and she has her wonderful husband. You will hear a lot about how they are working together to make this thing work, really. And yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. And for those who are listening to this episode regularly or weekly, thank you so much. And you will hear or you will understand the way or why I say things, especially things like self-care and the meal prepping and the partnership, because I must say the way how I think about parenting and this partnership with my husband is really American. I don't know if Americanized is a good way, but very American way. My parenting is really American way. Although I do appreciate and respect the Japanese aspect of it, and I do my best to teach my kids about the Japanese cultures and languages, and I always struggle with like, how can I do this? Meaning like, I don't want to push too much on this Japanese value and culture, because obviously if I do that, then my kids are not gonna, I mean, this is not, the place I live in is not in Japan, so I can't raise the kids the way how my mom raised my kids to fit into Japanese society. I need to do that for my daughter to fit for this society. So if you are doing the parenting in the other countries outside of Japan, you will understand what I am saying and what I'm talking about. So this episode is going to be really fun. And again, this is going to be all in English. And Jenna and Megan are kind enough to speak really slowly because I told them that some of the listeners are still learning English. And they're kind enough to really slow down and explain. In the conversation, you'll hear sometimes like I ask them to explain a little bit more or repeat or something like that. So that way you, the Japanese listeners especially, can really understand what they are saying. So it's going to be really fun, and it's very eye-opening for some of you guys, because it's just the way how Japanese parenting or Japanese partnership with the husband is just completely different. And you also get to hear from the single mom side of the stories. I have a respect towards both of Jenna and Megan. So it's going to be fun. And before that, you know how that goes. Before we move on to the main topic, let's take a quick break. Are you living your life the way you want to live? Or are you following the life someone else told you to live? 自分に自信がなく自分を好きになることができない。こんな悩みを抱えていませんか？ Her Confidence Her Way では働く女性の自分探し、自分の価値観を理解するお手伝いをし、女性が自信を持って本当にやりたいと思っていることができるようにサポートし、生きがい、充実感のあるワークライフを応援しています。Her Confidence Her Way is all about helping Japanese working women to discover their true self so that they can see their own values and helping them to build their confidence to live the purposeful and meaningful work life they love. 自分らしくワークライフをクリエイトしていくための First Step は自分の強みを理解すること。日本人一人しかいないコーポレートアメリカで働く中で痛い、恥ずかしい、そして悲しい思いを繰り返しながら自分を信じる力をゼロから積み上げていきました。その時に一番役立ったのが自己発見、Gifted Talent を探すことです。自分ができること、自分にしかできないユニークさを理解することによってどこにフォーカスを置いていいか、自分が今後どんなキャリア、人生を送っていきたいのかがよく理解できます。もっと自分らしく充実したワークライフをクリエイトしたいあなた、ぜひ私のニュースレターに登録して自分のギフトタレントを探すワークシートで新たな自分を発見してみてください。もちろん登録は無料です。登録は私のウェブサイト www.herconfidenceherway.com からできます。エピソードでお話しした内容、アドバイス、またはエピソードで出てきたリンク、他のサイトも私のウェブサイトで紹介しています。そしてこのエピソードがとっても役に立ち、もっと聞きたいと思った方はぜひこのポッドキャストをスポンサーしてください。私のウェブサイトからポッドキャストをサポートするをクリック。今後も私たちがポッドキャストを続け、より良いエピソードをお届けするためにもリスナーさんからの寄付をお待ちしています。最後にLet's connect with me on Instagram. 私のアカウントは @emiko rasmussen emiko rasmussen です。DM からいただいたメッセージは必ずお返しします。Alright, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. このポッドキャストの購読もお忘れずに。Now, let's get back to the show. Welcome back. Alright, are you guys ready for my conversation with Jenna and Megan?Here you go. Enjoy. Thank you so much for taking the time to have this working mom chat with me today. Let's just go ahead and start with introducing yourself. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'll go first.
Okay.
So my name is Jenna Sotelo. I'm here from San Diego. I've lived here all my life, moved away here and there.And I am a single mom of one 4-year-old girl. And I've been working here at Ashford University since 2015.
Oh, I was going to say 20 years.
No. Since I was 20. No.
2015. Awesome.
My name is Megan Nava. I have pretty much lived in San Diego my entire life.I have an 8-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son, and I have been working here at Ashford University. I started, I want to say, in 2012, maybe 13. I took a little break when I had my son, and then I came back in just this last year, 2018.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Okay, so the first question, this is something that I have been asking for all the guests that I have been interviewing for this Mother's Day special topic. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you were to describe your mom life in one word, it doesn't have to be one word. If you can't fit it in one word, that's fine. How would you describe it? Megan, do you want to go first this time?
Sure. This one's a little tough because I actually have 2 words. So I have my ideal word. My ideal word would be fulfilling, because that is something that this was a huge life goal for me. And once I met my best friend and we were married, I told him right out the gate, this is what my goal, this is my life. I want to have kids. I want to be a good mom. So fulfilling would be my ideal word. More in the last few years with balancing work, it's become more hectic. So
that's true state.
That's the true word. That's more the reality of it. What's describing, but yeah. So.
Yeah. How about you?
Mine would honestly probably be fun. I just love my daughter. She's so funny. We have a ton of fun together. She is going to be 5, but she's really sassy. She has funny parts of my personality, her dad's personality, my parents. And yeah, that's what's so funny is like we just have so much fun when we're together. There is obviously, all the parenting things that are involved. But I think being a working mom and having been working for like most of her life, when you do get to be with your kids, you just really focus on just enjoying the moment, having fun, making those memories.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. So let's get into just the detail of your life and stuff. So tell us your day. How can you just describe your just the daily schedule, like what time you wake up and like how your day go as a working mom?
So this is Jenna. I wake up at like 6 or 6:30. Me and my daughter have slow mornings, and she's not in kindergarten yet, so there's no crazy rush to get out of the door. And I'm really fortunate that I do have my mom who pretty much quit working to help me whenever I need it. So she comes over in the morning.
So you guys are living separate?
We live separate, but yeah, my mom comes over. They're at my house, maybe too much. But
it's bitter.
Yeah, but I appreciate it. But me and my daughter get to have those slow mornings. I get ready for work. I work my 10-hour days. At the end of my day, I always take a little bit of time for myself, maybe like 1 hour to go to the gym or to just relax. I pick up my daughter from my parents usually around 6:30 or 7, and then we're together. I was telling Megan the other day, I let her stay up a little bit late. She's not in preschool. I mean, she's in preschool. She's not in kindergarten yet, so she doesn't have a ton of demands. And I just cherish that time that me and her have together. We have dinner. Sometimes we have dinner with my parents. Sometimes we just go grab dinner, just the two of us. But yeah, we have slow mornings.
What time do you get out?
I get out of work around 6:30, sometimes 7. So yeah, sometimes I'm picking her up at 7:30. Depends on what time I get into the office.
So what time do you normally come into the office?
7:30 or 8.
7:30 or 8. Okay.
Yeah.
And then do 10 hours.
Then I do the 10-hour day. So it's like I like to have the slow morning and then really try and get some stuff in the evening, but no pressure, and let her go to bed a little late.
Yeah, I don't know what this is, but so many people have this like bad image of like your kids go to bed like after 10, 11, like oh my god. I'm like, well, I mean, but sometimes kids sleep in until whatever the morning.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
But I don't know, like scientifically or whatever. Maybe a certain time of sleep is good. I have no idea, but whatever it works for the family. But then I feel like we're so pressured to put kids to go to sleep at a certain unexpected time. Like sometimes I hear like, oh, my kids are like down by 7:30. I'm like,
what?
I'm not even home at 7:30 sometimes. So like it's kind of crazy to hear like unexpected.
And some kids need more sleep, some kids don't. So it really depends on the individual too, and what works for your family situation. Absolutely.
So when you say 10 hours, we understand what that means, but can you explain your work schedule, like 10 hours? Like what do you mean? Do you work 10 hours for 5 days? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I work 4 10-hour days. I've been doing it since 2017, I believe. So it's been a little over 2 years. I started doing that because the custody schedule that I have with my daughter, I have her Sundays and Mondays. So that's why I do the long 4 days, because that's my weekend with her is Sunday and Mondays.
Sunday, Monday.
I don't have her Saturday. Yeah.
You work from Tuesday
Tuesday to Friday.
Okay.
10-hour days.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Oh,
yeah.
that works perfectly.
Yeah, Saturday I take for myself. Friday night I get to have for myself because my daughter stays at her dad's.
Yeah.
And then Saturday night I go pick my daughter up from her dad's, and then I have her, you know, from Saturday night until Wednesday morning. I guess she goes with her dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So Saturday, your daughter is with her dad.
Yeah, uh-huh.
That's why you have your
That's
day.
why I have my day.
I know. I was like, what do you mean you have a day? What is the magic?
No, yeah, she's with her dad. She spends the night at his house Friday night, so she's with him from morning until 7 p.m. So I get that day to exercise. I get to, you know, see friends, work on my own projects, do stuff around the house. That is one nice aspect of it. You know, of course, I really miss her, but at the same time, you know, I do get to have that me time, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Megan?
Yeah, so I actually have just until this week, I was working the 8-hour day, so 40 hours a week, which is about 8 hours Monday through Friday with a forced half-hour lunch. So you're in the office space for 8.5 hours a day. I've just now adopted that 4-day, 10-hour schedule. It's an adjustment. So far, I actually really do enjoy it because I get Mondays off as well. I was actually not given the choice, but I'm happy because that Monday preps me for the rest of the week. Yeah. So the day is long. I come in at 6 o'clock in the morning is when I actually clock in. And
what time do you wake up?
I wake up probably about 5.
5.
Yeah. Now I'm waking up before the kids. So one difficult thing is I don't get to see them in the morning anymore. Right. And we had a great morning routine.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate. My husband is there, so he's able to pick up that routine with them and to get them ready for school and take them to school. His schedule is more flexible than mine.
See. So you leave before your kids wake up.
Yes.
And then your husband actually
does
the morning routine. I'm explaining because some of the listeners are people who are living in Japan, and some people may think like, wait, what? Your husband takes what? Like, you know, so I'm kind of like, being in the middle trying to explain and pulling some of the things that might be very different, the cultural difference.
Yes. Yeah, we work as a team. So his schedule allows more flexibility. So he's able to do that, which is very good for our situation. What is difficult is, I am here 10 hours a day from 6 o'clock in the morning till 4:30 p.m. I'm able to pick the kids up. So he's still working while I'm off. So then it flips a little. And I pick my son up in preschool, and I pick my daughter up at her elementary school. And, if I'm lucky and feeling good enough to cook, I might make something for food. We might end up going out a lot more than I would like. But, again, the adjustment for the schedule, it's tough having to be locked into a physical space for so long without the ability to, adjust your life, the balance. So, I'm out the door by 5:30. I'm at home until about 5:30 or 6 p.m. So I'm out about 12 hours a day. I'm not, I see my kids for 4 hours a day.
For both of you, when you say like you have a good day of like meal-wise, what would be your like really good ones? Like maybe you have time to cook or whatever. Like what would be your like, today, like I had a really good, awesome dinner. Like what would be that?
For dinner?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't really cook dinner during the week.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't. I just cook it on the weekends. Like, I cook every meal when we're home on the weekends, so we eat in, like, every meal. Maybe here or there, my parents will say, you want to go here? Well, my parents do invite us out to eat a lot. So that's nice. Yeah.
Especially you need those help.
Yeah. So it's nice because it's like, and then they're like, take all the leftover food. But definitely, I would say during the week, I don't really cook. Like, I will be eating at my parents', or we'll be grabbing fast food, or
Happy Meals. Kids are happy with Happy Meals.
Oh yes, a favorite.
Or we'll just do vegetables.
That's good.
Yeah.
How about you?
I wish we did more vegetables. Honestly, a perfect example, like if I were to put the ideal situation for a week would be we cook maybe 2 or 3 meals at home.
Yeah.
And by cook, I mean it might even be canned food or a frozen meal. But we put together a family meal maybe 2 or 3 days a week. 3 is on a great week.
Yeah.
1 or 2 days a week of cooking is probably more like it, more average. And we go out a lot. We try not to do expensive, fancy. Like we'll go to Denny's on Kids Eat Free. It's a diner, just one of the little diners.
Yeah.
And we'll pay maybe $20 for all 4 of us to eat dinner. And that's a good going out.
Yeah.
We try to get them to balance their diet, but we don't do a lot of meal prep. I wish I could. I'm exhausted.
I wish I could too.
And my husband helps too. He'll put together. We have the Panda Express here. It's like the fast food.
Yeah, they recently had that in Japan too.
Okay.
So some people may know what that is. It's pretty much, it's like a better version of a fast food Chinese restaurant where the food is already there. So you pick whatever the entree, like we want like orange chicken, teriyaki chicken, shrimp, whatever that is.
My kids are obsessed, and so sometimes we go into the store and get the frozen, so we call it Daddy Panda because my husband will cook it. And so it's Daddy's version of Panda Express. And those are good meals. We do that once a week, so we're saving money, but they still get something enjoyable.
Yeah.
But it's tough, the meal planning. By the time you're exhausted, I mean, it's rough. You know?
So it's almost impossible that after you get off work and you cook this healthy whatever the thoughtful meal for the family of 4 or 5 or whatever that is. I'm just saying because there are a lot of Japanese moms who are pressured to cook every time, every meal. Is it every meal? But I think it's impossible. And then I usually tell people, like, sometimes it's okay with frozen food.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you can just pick up from, like, the grocery store. They have, like, a pre-made food, Costco, like anything.
And you can do it on a good budget, and you can involve your kids in the decisions. If you know they like that choice, if they like a certain food, you can say, oh, well, let's try this one, or do you want to pick that one? And then the kids are involved, and then it becomes more about the family.
That's a good one.
You kind of have
eat
that.
some of it this time because they help make
Yes,
it.
yeah.
They took a few bites of it this time.
They're part of the choice, and it becomes less of a fight, more of an inclusive. And the parents coming together, it helps whether the mom or the dad or both are making the food. It's more enjoyable, but it is hard. It's a commitment, and it's a lot of energy that is, it takes energy.
It just remind me, like, although, like, my kids choose, like, are you sure? Because I know they're not going to eat. Are you sure you're going to eat this? Because I don't want to eat this, but because you said you want to eat this, so I'm buying it. And then I go home, they're like, no, we're not eating. And I'm like, no. You chose
to eat it. Sometimes I'll save it. I'll be like, you're not throwing this away. I'm saving this. And when you say later, I want a snack, that's what you're eating.
There's your choice.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think that's a big cultural difference here. So I'm just highlighting it again. And I'm not saying what is right and what is wrong. I think whatever it works, I think that's what we should be doing. So, okay. So let's see. What's the next question? Did you take some time off after your baby was born? If not, why did you decide to stay in the workforce? And if you decided to take some time off, like tell us all the challenges with becoming a mom and then going back to the workforce.
I was doing internships when I was pregnant, so I wasn't really working. And then my internships finished about a few months before I was due to have my baby. So I had her, and I was living with my parents. I had moved back into my parents and was living with them. And my parents were like, we'll support you. Don't even go back to work. Like, I'm really, really lucky. I know a lot of people don't have parents like that.
Being a single mom.
Yeah, being a single mom. I know a lot of parents will be like, you're on your own, too bad.
Yeah.
But mine are really, really, really gracious and really nice. But I decided to go back to work when my daughter was maybe like 3 months old. Okay. I started a part-time job. Mm-hmm. I was canvassing, going door to door, telling people to vote. I was doing a Get Out the Vote campaign.
Oh, wow.
And it was great because I lost a lot of weight. I was walking all around San Diego, door to door, talking to people about the coming elections and that they had the right to vote and just letting them know, you got to get out there, you got to vote. That was my first job, after I had my daughter. After that was done, because it was only until the elections were coming. After the elections,
seasonal.
Yeah, it was seasonal. After that, I went to go work at a company that does volunteer travel. So they send teenagers, junior high students to different countries to do volunteer work. Mm-hmm. And that was a great job where I could attend a lot of meetings from home, where I could come in when I wanted to. It was part-time. They were really understanding, really kind. And then when my daughter was 9 months, I went back to work full-time. And I came here to Ashford. And I hired a friend to watch my daughter. And honestly, I think because I'm not married, I never expected that, someone's going to go to work and I'm going to get to stay home a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that fact is what made me tell my parents, thank you so much for making this offer, but I know what I have to do, so I'm going to get started on it right now. Wow. So I went back to work, even though they were like, stay home, stay with the baby. And I have a lot of friends who've done that, and that's their choice. Yeah. And just like you said, Megan, different people, different needs, different individuals. But I knew that I'm going to be providing for myself. So that's when I was like, what? Gotta start working. Basically since then, I would say my biggest challenges have always just been remaining grateful. But I think that that's the most important part of being a working mom, is that you can be grateful for things, but you can also want change at the same time. You can say, I'm unhappy with the way things are, while still being happy about what you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you can still press for change. You can still say, things need to change.
You can better. You feel you're bettering yourself.
Yeah.
You're giving a good example to your daughter. And
exactly.
That's a good, positive way to look at it.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of been my biggest mindset, being a single mom in the workforce. Just, be thankful for what you have, but don't ever let that mean that you can't push forward for change, for things to be better, for things to work better for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so empowering. And the thing is, you have the power.
Yeah.
And you are the one to make the change. Like, you can't wait for someone to say, hey, it's perfect time for you, or here's the power that I give you. Like, no, you have to do that.
Yeah.
Well, did you have a guilt moment, or is there anything that I feel bad that I'm leaving my kids with my parents or with my friends, type of a guilty feeling, mom's guilt? Or you
never for working. For working, I've never felt like, I feel so guilty, I can't be there. For other things, kind of more self-care type of things, here and there, I have felt the guilt. I remember when my daughter was maybe 1, and I wanted to go, I was living with my parents still, and I wanted to go to the gym and work out for 1 hour down the street from my parents' house. And my daughter was crying, and I was like, you'll be fine. You're here with your grandparents. Yeah. Nothing bad could happen. You get everything you want here. And
grandparents,
But my dad, he gave me a look like, how could you leave her? How could you leave her to go to the gym and work out? And I'm just, to me, I was just really it's okay for me to take that time.
1 hour.
For 1 hour of something that's 100% for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was and I really rejected that when he did that. I was like, I'm leaving. Goodbye. I have to do this for me.
You.
Yeah. And those are the only type of things I think that it's like sometimes I will feel a little bit guilty if I'm able to, because that's the thing with me, I don't have my daughter all the time. The way that I look at that and the way that I turn that into gratefulness is that a lot of kids' dads don't care about them.
Yeah. It's only one.
That it's just the mom, and I have a lot of friends who are single moms, and it's just them. There's no family help. There's no dad. So I think that for me, that's the thing where I'm like, you know, I could be upset that I don't have my daughter all the time, but I'm really lucky that I have a dad who has my back. You know, my dad and then her dad too. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Cool. How about you?
Well, I kind of have a unique situation with the maternity leave specifically. I don't know if you're aware, California, I think, has a very specific regulation on maternity leave. So my husband and I worked together here at Ashford while I was pregnant with my son. Aww. So I'm skipping forward. My daughter, I guess I should go back. When I had my daughter, I was not here at Ashford. So
where were you in before?
I was working a part-time job.
Somewhere
else. I had gotten out of college during the recession. We had a really big recession in 2007 or 8. So I was the class of 2008, and I came out with my bachelor's degree from University of California, San Diego, and good degree. You know, I felt empowered.
Oh, the promise.
And I got, I landed a temp job, and it was good for a little while, and there was just nothing out there. So here I am. I got married right shortly after that because I had found, my partner at UCSD, and we decided to start a family early. There's never a good or a bad time. So we decided I wanted to be young. I didn't want to wait till I was established because that's something that people wait a long time and then it's never right. I said, no, I want to that was my goal. So when I had her, my daughter, we were 2 years after we got married. My husband was working again with a degree as well. Working delivering pizzas. Because that's all we could do at the time. And I was working part-time. So we were both minimum wage jobs, having this child on the way, on our own, So we were scared, but it worked. We made it work. And I took some time off just to do that, just to have her. And we made it work somehow, magically. We had a little bit of savings that I had tucked away from before, so we kind of burned through that. But once we had her... he had gotten the job at Ashford about, she was maybe 2 at the time, so about 2 years of struggle, and then he got here. And maybe about a year into him being here, I applied and also received a position here. So then my daughter was about 4, and we got pregnant with my son. So they're 4.5 years apart. And when I was pregnant with my son here at this company, we had to split the maternity and paternity leave. And now I know that sounds ungrateful because a lot of places don't even offer paternity. But because my husband worked here with me, I got half the time for maternity in order for him to have some. So I was actually allotted less time to have the break. So I actually ended up terminating my position for 3 years. And I raised my son for 3 years not working. And my daughter, she was still kind of in preschool, finishing preschool, going into kindergarten. So I had that kindergarten first grade year with her, which I was so grateful for. But
did you do class mom?
I'm sorry?
Did you do class mom volunteer for her?
No, well, a little bit, yeah. They didn't have a whole lot of opportunity at her school, but I would volunteer if they had, hey, bring a dish in, or, we're going to do, this project, or I joined the PTA, the Parent Association.
PTA,
so I helped them.
We were actually talking about that in the previous episode.
I didn't go crazy with it, but I was there as a support role.
Can I ask, how does the PTA work here in the U.S. or specific to your school?
Yeah, so my daughter's actually at a different school now, and I really like their PTA, so I'll use them as a better example because every school kind of operates a little different, but there is a basic idea of how it works. You have a board, so you have a president, a vice president, and then secretary, finance, and then supportive roles. And you meet usually, depending on the school, once a month, and they plan different activities for the school.
How do you become the member, the board member?
You just basically show up and say, hey, I'm interested, and you show up to the meetings. You don't have to do anything. It's not a financial obligation. It's great with the public schools, so I don't know.
Do you have to be approved by other parents, or it's more like you volunteer?
You just show up. You volunteer. You do get voted in if you want to hold a board position, but any parent could volunteer. You can just show up and say, hey, can I just join in on the meetings, and
Yeah.
you can become a member. We do. You know what there is? There is a financial. We paid, I think it was $10 for the year, so you put. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, we do that too.
Oh,
like,
okay,
it's kind of like we become a PTA member. Pretty much, we're just donating money. To the
Exactly.
school.
Yeah, but it's super cheap. I mean, for $10 for the whole year, it basically supports the school, and they have a PTA board that it supports, and they do the fundraisers, and they help run all the functions, and they do. They try to get money from other places to donate, and it works. They do a really good job for the school.
Yeah, the main thing is you, the parents, are the one who say, I volunteer myself, right? Because what we were talked with previous episode with the previous guests for PTA situation in Japan, I'm not saying for every schools, but for certain schools, someone put someone else's name on the board, and then you get voted. So if you are chosen,
I see.
It's like more like a volunteer than a volunteering.
They do a call for it. You put your own name in, and then
you put your own name.
Yes.
You don't put someone else's name.
No, I mean you can nominate. Maybe that's what they meant.
Yeah,
like they were nominating.
It's a nominating, but then she didn't really. She wasn't
declined.
ready, or she didn't want to. But once you were chosen, you were it.
And you're not allowed to say no?
I didn't ask, but I
might be looked down on her or something.
Yeah, I don't think that she had that option. I didn't get the clarification, but it sounds like that is the case for so many schools. Or like it's your turn. Like, you haven't been volunteered. It's your turn.
They do put pressure. I do see the pressure. I'm not there because I don't join at that level, but I do see the meetings, and then I know there's levels. There's a hierarchy. But yeah, it gets intense. But honestly, I volunteer mostly to get information, because if I'm not really there, I'm not present in the school, like I don't know what's going on. So in the meetings they tell you all the upcoming things, so I write all my notes and everything that comes up. But so I mean, it's been good. I was able to dedicate more time to that. Now a little less. I still show up to the meetings. It's once a month, so I try to go after work on those days, and just to be present. The kids aren't there, but I want to be representing my kids' best interest, and so it's really hard. But I dedicate that one day a month. It's an hour of my day. It's not that bad, But so the coming and going, I've been in and out for working. I mean, I'm not a career-minded person, and that's something that I come back to.
Can you explain what that means?
Absolutely. I don't have this end goal of climbing a corporate ladder. I don't have this whole, I want to be this, this leadership role. I don't want to climb and crawl up high. My goals are not to build and grow in a career specific, and I don't want to say that to sound like I'm better than anyone or that I don't deserve it. It's my personal goal is to just provide, like you were saying, just having that providing space to be able to bring home enough. San Diego is extremely expensive to live. Our cost of living has gone up so much that it's almost impossible for two adults that have a child to have one stay home.
So that's why I don't live in San Diego anymore.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. We're working to get out, but we're still kind of in limbo right now. But we've been renting the same house for the last 15 years, so our rent's been very cheap. We've been very lucky. Very lucky. Very lucky. But if we didn't have that situation, we would be in a very different conversation right now. So, but so
sorry, I kind of interrupted.
Yeah,
so
no worries.
You were saying you were helping with your older daughter, with kindergarten and stuff, and you had your son.
So when I had my son, I promised in my mind, into my soul, in my heart, I promised 2 years to each of my kids, and I told myself I want to be there for at least the first 2 years the best I can, without having to have conflicts of job and everything else. So we tried our best to make that happen, and we did. We succeeded in that goal. And so now my youngest he's 3. He's still in preschool, but he's there 10 hours a day every day, and that's hard, and it's expensive. We're paying $1,400 American dollars in a month to have him there. Just for him.
Okay.
Yeah. My daughter's school is free for public school, but but it's a good school. He's taken care of. They're good to the kids. They're happy. There's no bad. You can tell there's big space. They can run. They can be kids.
Yeah. That's one thing that we need to do. Like whenever we we leave the kids to care, right? I think that all the things that we as a working mom really focus on is the things that they're missing out. Like, I feel bad that he's in this and that. I'm like, but I had to flip that idea, saying they're learning the social skills, all the people, the caregivers, they're loving, and
they have healthy snacks, they're making friends, they're interacting, they're singing, they're moving. It's a great experience, and I'm not guilty with that. My guilt really kicks in when he's having a bad day, or he does get a little emotional when I drop him off, or when I pick him up. Sometimes when I pick him up, he just starts crying. It's like, you don't want to come home to mommy. But a lot of it is the emotion of the child, because they're so it's intense. It's hard. It is hard.
You just remind me of my first day. I'm tearing up already. But like the very first day that I had to drop off my daughter, she was 2. I remember, like, it was just the hardest.
It's hard. It is hard. It's very hard.
And then, of course, the teacher knows. Yeah. So they have a tissue box.
They're prepared.
It was so bad, because I'm like, bye. And then she was, like, on the swing, and, like,
it's okay. But you provided a good environment for her, and she probably was very thankful for that. And I think your daughter was at the same as my daughter, at the same school for just a little bit of time.
A little bit. Yeah, but it was before that, before it's in Claremont. But then, the other school was good. But now my kids, like, whenever I come and pick them up, they're like, I'm not done yet. I'm like, let's go home. We gotta go home. We gotta cook.
Yes. But you gotta find a motivator to get them to come. It's hard.
I remember
definitely flipping that script, because when I first started sharing my daughter with her dad, I remember being so like, but then it really turned into, and it was helpful when I went back to work, it turned into they're being well taken care of. Who else could they be with? So that's how I feel. I'm sure you feel that way when your your son's at preschool, and your daughters are at school. They're getting that social interaction. When my daughter's not with her dad and she's not at preschool, she's with my mom, and my mom crafts, outside gardening, take a walk to see the horses. So it's one of those things. I think if we could really accept the fact that our kids are going to be out in the world, and we cannot control them, and we cannot watch over them all the time, we do ourselves and our kids, we do them a really great service. We do a great thing for them.
Definitely. I completely agree, because I don't think I can even provide that environment, like learning environment.
And not regularly.
I can't do that. So
and like we have a day where we're like, let's go to the zoo for 2 hours. I'm tapped for the day.
Definitely.
Oh, that's great.
So you have dropped him off at daycare, and then he's in like 10 hours and stuff. That's the hard part.
He's there. Like, if it's better when my husband can drop him, because he'll drop him closer to 8 o'clock, and so then I pick him up in the 4 o'clock hour. So from where the crow flies here where we work, I don't even have to take the freeway. It's close, but it still takes me 20 to 30 minutes to drive because there. Of the traffic. Our traffic's condensed here so horribly now. It's changed over the years. So it's just the timing, and that kind of circles back to the need for more flexibility with the workplace, because a lot of what we do, Jenna, I think we're in the same department. We do literally the same kind of job tasks. A lot of what we can do can be done from a remote position, or from a place where we don't have to be so dedicated to a controlled space. And I think a lot of it, if I could just wrangle free, when my daughter's out early at noon, I can go pick her up, or my son doesn't have to be there till 4 or 5. I could pick him up at 1 or 2. It wouldn't be so difficult, I think. And for most working moms, I think that would be a huge shift towards a good direction. Still getting the job done. I love, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to work. I'm happy to provide. Like, it's not about being lazy or not wanting to work. Because I get, my husband jokes with me. He's like, oh, well, you just want to stay home, ha ha ha. And I say, no, not necessarily, but I would like to be able to be more flexible so that I could work and be with the kids as needed.
So how many hours do you get to spend with the kids?
Monday through Friday, with my new schedule, I'm with the kids 4 hours a day. Monday's a little looser because now I'm not, I don't come in on Monday, so I can do the morning routine. But I'm still dropping them both off at school, and I get the chores done and the housework and errands and any self-care, which I don't even know what that is anymore. Just whatever that happens to be in the moment. I watch an episode of something, that's self-care for me. Take a bath.
Do you feel bad that you're dropping him off on Monday, although you're not working, or where do you stand on that?
I haven't had this experience yet because this is the first week. I'm sure that will come.
Yeah.
I have thought about that. There are going to be Mondays that I will probably just keep him home with me, just to have that time.
I'm not judging you.
Oh no, that was my initial thought when I first decided to do this. I talked to my husband. I said I'm probably going to pick at least once a month or twice a month where I just hold him home because he's in preschool. Yeah. There's no like attendance yet. It's not
no testing.
No. So I'm happy to. I told my husband. I said that'll be like a me and him day, and that's something I'm looking forward to as well because
definitely.
Again, the goal wasn't to put him in full time. It was to get him exposure to kids.
But socialization.
But he's in full time now, as I'm working full time, and my husband's working full time, and my daughter's in school full time. She's in an aftercare program that they actually require that she stays a certain amount of time. So it's a funding thing.
Right.
So if she uses the program, so if she uses part of the program, if we were to pick her up early 2 or 3 days of the week, then they would kick her out because you can't pick them up, and you have to have an excuse. You have to circle.
I would use the resources because I think what we really struggle is that the balance between your own interest, meaning self-care, which is very important. That's our right to do it. But then like, I feel bad going to, I don't know, well, like for example, your example, like going to the gym, like I could have spent the time with my kids, like I could see that, but at the same time, like we have to really understand the priority too. If the mommies are not functioning, then that would be a total disaster.
You need to be well, and you know, and when the daddies get sick, you know, the mommies have to take care of everybody.
And then when mommy's sick, no one take care of it. No, so we still have to work. Okay, so is there any other like struggles or challenges that you have? Was it difficult for you to come back to work?
It was. I was ready in some ways. I had actually worked a part-time job just to bring in a little extra income. It wasn't much, but it gave me some me time with adults. Yeah. But it was a retail.
So important.
Yeah, the socialization for the mom. And it was great because my parents, although they're not able to help a whole lot, they would come up to the house one day a week for like 3 hours or 4 hours. And I would do my shift, so I would work maybe 15 hours a week, and it would be 2 or 3 days. So, and one of those was a weekend, so it wasn't that bad. Yeah. And they could hang out with the kids, and they thought of it more as spending time with them, not necessarily caring for them, like having to watch and take care. It was more just spending time. So I didn't want to rely heavily on that, you know, because they're a little older. Like they can't really do a whole lot. And that worked out really well. That was something that I enjoyed. But then my store closed, and then Ashford had a position, so it actually the timing was really good.
Right. Yeah.
Pardon me.
I see. Yeah. Have you guys seen like any of the? I can't find it. I just like decided to like look up, but like the working mom versus the stay-at-home mom.
Oh yeah.
I like the pay chart. Have you seen the pay chart where it shows you how much your jobs are worth?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
I've seen it. That it's like all the duties that a stay-at-home mom does. Like it's so invaluable. Like
oh my gosh,
she's
is this
cooking,
a chart comparing
cleaning.
Working moms?
Yeah. Yes.
Is this it?
Maybe.
We're kind of like looking at the computer right now and kind of like checking.
It talks about like how much it would cost to hire a nanny, a nurse,
cleaner.
There's a tutor because you're teaching them, a meal provider. Like there's all these different jobs that we do. Shopping. So you do your personal shopping, and they added
a link.
I'll have to find it. Yeah, I've seen it before. Yeah, laundry.
I've seen it. Yeah.
And then how much it would cost to hire that.
How much you would pay to hire someone. You know, all those different jobs. No, totally.
It's really funny.
Yeah, it's. I have to like share with you guys. I've seen this like stay-at-home mom attacking the working mom. Like,
oh my gosh!
How dare you? You are putting your child at some random like, you know, someone else's house or daycare. Like you are irresponsible, and then how dare you can call yourself a mom if you're only doing the part-time of your job or something like that. And it went crazy on social media, and I was like, oh my gosh.
And that's one perspective, but the other perspective, and I have been a stay-at-home mom. I've done it for at least a couple years since. It's exhausting, and you have both ends, you know. You can have too much of your kid. Trust me.
Yeah.
You can. You really, really can. I promise. I love my children dearly, and I promise it's hard for me to be here all the time. I wish there was a medium. I would love to have somewhere in between, because all away from them all the time versus with them all the time, like it's too extreme on either end.
Yeah, I get it.
It really is.
Yeah.
Even if you have the best kids in the world, it's still hard to manage both ends. But yeah, the criticizing, there's a lot of criticism on both ends.
On both ends, definitely.
You know? And like I see some stay-at-home moms that are either in the family or friends, and it's interesting because some of them are very capable of working now that their kids have gone back to school, and I find myself pulling back that judgment, because it's not about that. It's about their choice to be there no matter what, to pick their kids up. And now I'm like, you know, I wish I could pick my kids up when they get out of school or when, you know, so we're finding that balance again.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
It's hard.
It's an interesting one. Okay, so speaking of being a mom, you know, regardless if you're a staying mom or you're a working mom, we all have some sort of like a mom power. I'm not saying we all have to be a super mom, because that puts us a pressure.
Yes.
But it's like a mom power. For me, like my super mom power would be asking. Like that is my power. Like I know, I admit I can't do all by myself. So I share this during my working mom event at the Woman at Work. But I was told by the school that I have the longest list of approved parents to pick up my kids. But for me it's so important, because I'm driving from San Diego to Temecula. So at certain point, if I'm not reached at certain point, I have to start calling people. Hey, can you pick up my kids? Hey, are you available? You know, so I have the longest list. And I'm proud of it.
That's good. You have resources and you have support.
And
it's not
I'm
a guilty.
not hesitant to call them. Because I have already built the relationship with them, that whenever I can help, I help them. So I'm just keep depositing, and whenever I need a withdrawal, I withdraw. No problem. You know,
that's wonderful.
So that would be my superpower. So I'm gonna know what you guys it doesn't have to be like really super, but what is your mom power?
I think mine is really just being, I don't know if it's a mom power, but like just really trying to see the good in everything, you know, keeping me from feeling like, oh gosh, like I'm overwhelmed, or I mean, I think we all get overwhelmed. I really know that we truly do, and like I feel lucky that I have a lot of resources. But I think really just always trying to like, well, let's look at the bright side of things. Let's look at like what we can be happy for. Let's look at, you know, instead of feeling shame or embarrassment or anger about what we don't have, you know, or what we think people might be saying about us, like let's just look at the reality of right now. And this is all the things we have to be happy for. It's something I'm constantly telling my daughter when she's like, I want this, I want that, or I'm so unhappy that this happened. I'm constantly like, look at my parents are like, you're good grief, like don't pull the whole like starving kids in other country type of thing. But I'm like, really, like
I've done it.
You know, I'm just like, I'll tell her sometimes, I'm like, stop right now, let's start listing things we can be happy for. So we start going through, we can be happy that we have this car, we can be happy that, you know, we have food to eat, we can be happy we have friends, and then I found her doing those things before. Like listing, like, well, I can be happy about this and I can be happy about that.
That's such a good practice. Maybe I should do more of those.
Trying to turn her into like Pollyanna, you know, like, well, at least this, like always just try and look on the bright side of things.
That's wonderful.
Instead of showing a YouTube video about the starving kids in somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Instead
of saying,
instead of traumatizing, like, no, like, I mean,
look, it's worse everywhere else.
Yeah, it's worse everywhere else, but like, let's just be happy for what we have, you know,
so good.
And let's make the best of this moment.
Oh, it's so good. Thank you.
I think I need to learn from you.
How about you, Megan?
When I was kind of looking at this question, just to kind of, what I read through it was being everywhere at once. But it's funny because that was my ultimate, like, if I could pick a power. But thinking about now, just kind of like what I embody, I would say kind of being on a good schedule, being organized, and not to like in a detriment. I mean, I'm not gonna cross off lists for my kids. I'm very organized as a person, and I was conversing with you earlier about that. But our kids are on extremely good schedules, and it's kind of funny because anytime anyone watches our kids, which is very seldom, but when they do, they always comment. They put themselves to bed. Like, they went and got their pajamas on and brushed their teeth. And right when the show was over, I'm like, yay, success. But we've always done that ever since they were little. And it's not to their detriment, more just so that they feel comfortable wherever we are. So even when we vacation, we go, which is, again, very rarely with our time. We'll go out of town for a night. And they're on such a good schedule. We watch the little show. We watch a little cartoon called Pocoyo. And it's a little boy. I love Pocoyo. It's so cute. And both the kids have had such a great routine with that. They watch 2 Pocoyos and then they go to bed. So it doesn't matter what time we start it. We can start it later or earlier. Once it's done, they go to bed.
Oh my gosh! When my kids watch TV, they'll watch forever. They just fall asleep on the couch without brushing their teeth, without changing pajamas. So that's something that's so great.
It's rewarding to hear other people validate what you're trying so hard to do.
My kids
like your story.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing is, you're so organized. Your kids are getting, like, she gets to be in Girl Scouts. All the different activities. You're telling me that she knows so much activities for her kids.
I know,
but that I'm like, how do you know all this?
But we don't overdo it. So that's the thing. I know parents, and might go off topic, but have you heard the parent where it's like, my kid's in this sport, they're playing this music, they're doing gymnastics. So we pick 1 or 2 things at a time. And so the Girl Scouts has been something we've done for about 4 years. But she goes once every other week on a Saturday, and some of it can be bonding. I can stay and hang out and help if I want. So I'm not just dropping her and making it about... And if she wants me to drop, I'll go and give her time with her friends. They're not friends from school. It's another social group. So it kind of gives her that external socialization. A lot of it, too, like karate, she does once a week through a program. It's a nonprofit, and it helps the community, and she loves it. We go once a week for an hour. It's her exercise, because they don't have PE in school anymore, so just FYI. So I figure 1 physical activity, 1 social activity, and then I find out online. I look in Facebook, I join groups.
So much stuff. There's rock painting club, there's these free nature tours you can do.
We join things as we're interested. So when I find them, I flag it. We may not do it, but then I think, I remember I saw this somewhere. And if she gets interested, I go find it again, and we look and we go. And
you can totally start like the Mommy's Resources Center.
Oh gosh,
you could. She knows so many things.
Well, thank you.
Okay, well that's great. Okay, so this is my last question for you guys. Do you have any advice for working moms? I mean, obviously, as we have this conversation, it doesn't matter, no matter who you are, which country you're from. We all have some sort of struggles, or we can all relate to certain things as a working mom. So any advice that you can share?
So mine, I don't know if it is advice. I feel, because it's a feeling that I have, and it's something that I feel like I do easy, but I feel like it's because it's so specific to my situation. Again, of like, my daughter's with her dad half the time, so I've learned to completely, as far as like shame of not having her, or worrying about like where she is and who's taking care of her, or feeling guilt. It's just, just throw it out the window. You don't need it. Like I
literally throw your kids out of the
window. Don't throw your kids out the window, but just like that feeling of like, I'm not there with them. How are they going to survive? Trust me, they'll be fine. I was talking about this with my mom even. Like my parents were total helicopter parents, really tried to spoil us, just did everything they could for us. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. And then when we went to school, she got a job at our school until we were graduated.
Perfect.
It's like a mom's dream. But at the same time, I've talked to her about like her parenting style. And I've said, I think for me, it's different because I'm a single mom. I had to accept early that like, I'm not always going to be able to control where she's at, who she's with. I'm not always going to know even who she's with. And so I think for me, it's easy to say, just get rid of that guilt, get rid of that shame, get rid of that worry. But I think if you really can adopt that mindset of like, they are taken care of.
Right.
When they're going to grow up, I'm not going to have any control over them anyways. Yeah,
Right.
you want to cherish these moments right now, but when you're not able to, just let it go.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good, because so many of us are control freak. So it's important. That's a skill to have.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jenna. How about you, Megan?
Well, I initially kind of thought about, being able to kind of emotionally compartmentalize, which sounds really difficult because it's you're having to kind of have your work person, your home person, your kid person, your spouse person, or whatever that is. Your whole situation, you're kind of, you are a different role in every aspect. I kind of thought about that for a little bit, but then I kind of crawled back from that because we all can identify with at least one or two of those things. The organization keeps coming back to me, and although my house, I'm thinking, but I think about it in my home, I'm not the most organized person, but we have such a system and a structure that has just always kind of been. And so I wouldn't know how to start a structure of organization, but maybe find the things that you struggle with most or the things that stress you out the most and kind of like plot it down. Think about, not every aspect, but maybe one or two major things, maybe 3, 4, 5. Make the list as long as you need. And then maybe try to create your ideal day and then make your ideal week. And so as you kind of start seeing patterns in busier days or not as busy days, you can start flexing yourself in a way that allows you to enjoy that time or maybe, push through some of it and then you're back to good again. So it ebbs and flows.
Having the rhythm.
A good rhythm. There. That was the word. Emiko, you got it. The rhythm. Finding that rhythm.
That's
Once you find that rhythm, you are golden. And things can come up and it's okay because your rhythm is only affected slightly by that thing, not by your whole entire existence being chaotic. So
some people did mention about having a work. So I'm all about work-life blend, not a balance, because I hate the word balance, meaning like you have to split the two, right?
Yeah.
But that if I do that, I'm failing every day.
That's how I feel. I feel the same.
But for you, it's rhythm, because I heard someone saying work-life rhythm, because there are some days that you're busy with work, but then there are some days that you it's a family day.
Absolutely.
So having that imbalance or rhythm or having that blend, it removes the stress from like you have to choose one or the other.
I like that. I really like that a lot. I'm gonna start using that. I like that because it's true.
Rhythm for you, it's a rhythm.
True rhythm. Yeah. But it's okay to be off your rhythm. It's okay. Give yourself permission.
Thank you.
Give yourself permission because it's not that the rhythm means everything. The rhythm helps. When you're on a good rhythm, it helps. But if you're off, you just realize, oh man, things aren't normal. This has been, I will tell you really quick without getting into too many details, this week has been one of the worst weeks I've ever had in my entire life. I will tell you, I have been from all the way to top apex, all the way down to Z. Like, I have gone through everything this week. My husband was in an accident yesterday. He's okay. He's okay.
Oh
but I had to take the cat to the emergency on that Monday. That first Monday I was off. And then my kids were like, I had to have 2 different people take them at 5 a.m. They showed up at my house to take them to school by 7. Like, I was so hectic. And my rhythm has been completely destroyed. But you know what? I'm getting back to my normal rhythm. I realize
you have that.
because you come back to it. It's okay. It's there.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
If you can create that balance and then realize what is normal, create the okay, then anything I guess could happen. You can just accept it, and I'm just kind of coming to that realization more recently in life.
We figure it out as we go to.
Superpower.
Well, thank you so much for everything. I'm pretty sure all the listeners are enjoying this conversation.
Thank you for the opportunity. This has been wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Really great.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
There you have it. I hope you had enjoyed my conversation with Jenna and Megan. There are 3 things that I definitely thought about. Well, first thing is definitely this title of the podcast. There is no right way to do the parenting. So we all have to remember the society is so noisy and so many people will tell you, oh, you're supposed to be doing this and you have to do it this way, or maybe you're even telling yourself, I should be doing that, or I have to do this, or you're not even allowing your partner to help you. You might be telling your partner like, hey, no, this is not the way how you do it. Fine, I'm just going to do it. Does that sound familiar to you? The other thing that I thought that is really important to remind ourselves is that we tend to look for negative or what we are missing instead of gaining. So we all have to flip the script, right? So if you're leaving your kid, your child to a daycare, just focus on the things that the kids are gaining and you're gaining while you're at work and your child is at daycare. Again, we talked about self-care. I know this is definitely the ongoing kind of theme or the topic for this podcast, or even just for women in general. It's so important to do our self-care. Remember, self-care is not selfish. The last thing is that I personally think that I'm not saying, I don't want people to think I'm saying negative things to Japanese women, and that's not the case. But I am noticing that the people here in US have a higher desire for the independence. It's financially and it's their own career that they want to keep. They want to stay in the workforce, and they're choosing rather than, I guess, choosing is a good way, right? Everybody has an option, and some people, they do not have the option, and they may have to work, or they may have to stay at home as a stay-at-home mom. But people who have the option, we also get to choose where you want to be, where we want to be. So it's important that there is no one way, there's no right way. Stay-at-home mom is better, working mom is better. No, I'm not saying that. This is a choice. We all choose, and it's a preference too. So we don't judge each other. Okay? All right, well, that's all for today. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Remember, you are enough, and you are here for a reason with your gifted talent. You matter to the world, so don't limit yourself. And get out there and start living your own life. 今のあなたのままで十分です。Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.